Get into Gates. This is episode 16. We're talking Enigma, episode 17 of SG1 Season 1. Welcome back to Get into Gate. We are reloving Stargate SG1 and the man, the reason why we're here, the rookie, the newbie to the show, Rhys Gibson. He once again joins us after 2 weeks off. Welcome back, Rhys.
Oh, good morning. Yes, thank you.
Welcome.
Turns out you're not the reason we're here.
That's true. 2 weeks off. You like the show, obviously, the last 2 weeks.
I'm the reason that the listeners are here. Thank you.
There we go.
If you hadn't shown up for this episode, I would have just cut you from my life completely.
I was telling the guys how you went to a matinee of Madeline.
Yeah. It wasn't a matinee, but yes.
And it wasn't Madeline.
I always get... I'm really bad with names.
It's Madeline.
She could have been called Martha. I would have really loved it.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. You didn't get it.
Yeah, no.
You went and saw the matinee of Marmalade.
That's the name of a stripper, right?
That was
Marmalade?
I saw her matinee.
You saw her opening night. Oh, that was too far?
That was good, mate.
The rest of the team, we got Matty Gibson.
Yo.
Brendan Gibson.
Hello.
I got there eventually.
Brendan.
Myself, Mitch Lewis. Yes, we are back, the full Get Into Gate team. And look, this is our first show after Christmas, boys. So Merry Christmas. Hope you all had a good couple of days watching Stargate, hopefully spending it the right way.
Do they have a Christmas episode? I don't think they do.
No. And I think because of the way we were watching it, I was expecting to get to a point when they were going to have a Christmas episode.
In the finale, they have Christmas.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Maybe I should watch that
It's
and
not
have
in
a
a
cry.
Christmas episode.
Is it the same sort of argument about Die Hard? Like, Die Hard's got Christmas in it, but most people say it's not a Christmas movie.
Right.
I mean, to me,
Exactly
it's the greatest Christmas movie of all time, but...
What?
If
What
it's,
about Jingle All the Way?
Well, sure.
Hey,
No.
Home Alone?
Oh, okay, look, they're in the grand final,
Home
and I don't
Alone.
want to see that game ever played. I don't want to know the winner.
Yeah.
I just want to know that Home Alone...
Home Alone killed it.
And
Obviously. want to see the match, yeah.
It's Home Alone 1 or 2.
Yeah.
What
What about Home Alone 3? Oh, just kidding.
What about Gremlins? I watch that every year at Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
No.
No. No.
I just can't feel like one of the guys around these guys.
All right, Rhys, you missed me doing this last couple of weeks with the extra flavour, so let's see if I can do this. I don't read through it at the
Do you
start.
remember what we're doing?
Oh, yes, of course. Yes.
So Enigma, in our new world, is about the SG-1 team rescuing a group of highly developed survivors from the cataclysmic planet of Tollan. To stop the legendary knowledge of the Tollan People from falling into the wrong hands, Walter and his team stake all on a cross-universal rescue. It's back to our saucy minx. Catherine Powers wrote Enigma.
Sexy man.
It's the best we got.
And we spoke about it.
She's a good writer. Most of her episodes are awesome.
Yeah. And then I saw at the end of this episode, it had that she is like a chief story consultant or something like that. And then immediately after in the credits was chief story editor was Robert C. Cooper. And I'm like, well, we need to switch those bad boys around, okay? If anyone's proving themselves at this point in the show, it's Catherine Powers.
Imagine what the show could have been if
God.
if she was EP.
Yeah. It's
Would have been
it's
like
Enigma
Grey's Anatomy.
versus Cori. Like, there's a clear winner there.
Yeah.
In Cooper.
So
He had
Enigma.
nothing to do with Cori, did he?
Didn't he write it? Or
No.
was it-
Was it bad? That was the episode. I
was
missed that.
what?
No, he
episode.
wrote
Oh,
Singularity,
mate,
yeah.
you picked.
Oh, well, even worse.
You picked the best episode to not be here for.
Excellent. I'm not even going to go back and listen to it. Watch it.
Haven't you watched them?
Well, Cori is kind of a
I
Teal'c
haven't seen
episode,
Cori.
and since Teal'c is your favourite, I feel
Yeah,
like
you should watch
You
Cori.
might
Should
get
watch
some
it.
enjoyment out of it.
It's good for the first time, but like Matty and I being repeat offenders, going back and that's boring. Well,
Let's just put
to
it
us
this way.
after the fifth
Yeah, yeah.
time,
If you want to see Teal'c cry, watch Cori.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't wanna
Oh,
see
Rhyme
that.
5.
O'Neill kicks him in the nuts.
So Enigma, the emergence of the Tollan, and what really excited me about this because it's been a long time since I watched this episode. Tobin Bell, you might not know the actor's name, but he was the chieftain, the leader of the Tollan.
Oh, the dick.
The actor
yeah, I know
that
who
played
you're talking
Jigsaw
about.
in the Saw
Jigsaw
films.
himself.
Yeah. And still just as much of a dick. just as menacing,
Olmark.
just sitting on his bed, just like looking like sort of half open eyes and
Yeah, he's
this
gonna
sort of
murder
half awake
someone.
voice. Yeah, exactly. Like it paved the way for him to become this torture porn serial killer in a horror franchise 10 years later. So that was really cool for me. I really like that. But you're right, yeah, a constant dick and an emergence of a new, far more advanced race, which we haven't had in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and it's the first kind of humanoid people that are advanced. Is it this one? No, I think it's a different episode where Daniel says it wasn't called the Dark Ages because it was dark. That wasn't this episode.
No,
it
they
wasn't.
spoke.
No,
spoke
they
of the
talk
Dark
about
Ages,
that.
but-
He speaks of the Dark Ages, but
Yeah, the 700 years of where
Yeah.
reading and writing was outlawed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
science was heresy and all
Yeah.
that sort of thing. That was a cool line. I actually really liked that because you start thinking, oh, yeah, well, people have actually allowed the geniuses of the world to do what was good for the race of humanity.
Yeah.
Then maybe we would be in much
And
better
they
places.
Didn't just punish them and imprison them, and so yeah, that's how they justified them being as advanced or further advanced than us because we were untouched by the Goa'uld. Obviously, so were they, but they were also untouched by Christianity.
Zing.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Well, I mean, he did say that there. He goes because he saw Carter and thought she was an angel, right? And it
Yeah,
says,
I like that line.
there was a time in our civilization before reason and science where our people
Yeah, that
believe
was
in
a
all
burn.
matters of
that
nonsense.
was such a burn.
So good.
And then I liked at the same time, he was such a polar opposite of Olmark. Nareem was his name?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's walking up and he said, yeah, we used to believe in such nonsense, such sort of fantasy elements. And she's, oh, we call those things that you just described in greater detail than I did, angels. He's, oh, so you still believe in them? And it wasn't paying her out. He said, oh, but you still believe in them? She's, well, some of us do. And he still didn't sort of turn to her and go, well, clearly you're not one of them. You're one of the smarter people, but those people are stupid. Like he was so nice about the whole thing,
Yeah. So
but
good.
still making a bloody good point.
Yeah.
And if I tell you what, if there's one thing you're going to say to a woman when you're flirting with her, it's that she looks like an angel. I mean, well done. Yeah. And at the same time, he had one of the worst pickup lines I've ever heard. When she comes over to him, he's, I'm sorry, I don't know how to use a blanket. Can you show me how to use a blanket? Like, you're an advanced race. I don't know how to use a warming device.
Who's primitive now, bitch?
Yeah. They obviously haven't got gender equality there because they're still getting the women to do the sheets.
Just on the Nareem Carter romance, is the cat a metaphor for Carter's vagina?
You know, I saw you send
I'll
through...
put my Schrodinger in your box.
Well, just following it through, right? He calls her an angel, so she gets intrigued with him. And then they're outside, and he says, "Oh, he's never seen an." Now, you guys in the room will have to see my air quotes, but he says he's never seen an animal before. So then she decides, "Oh, I'll get you some books with some animals in them to look at." And then off screen decides instead to just rock up to his bed, uncage her box, and let her cat out
AKA
to show him
pussy.
to pet. And then it's named after a scientific theorem, a theorem that she then says that he has licked.
Oh, jeez.
Oh.
You know what? I never thought about it
Wow.
in as much detail, but it's hard to argue against it.
I don't know. I'm just like, is it that on the nose that the cat's her vagina? And
You know-
then doesn't he take the cat with him at the end of the episode?
Sure does.
So he has her cat. So she can't give her cat to
None of us picked
to
up on
anyone
that. Were you
else?
just horny and had to watch this instead of porn?
I think this is the first time we see the miniature UAV fly through the gate.
Yeah, show's got some budget, doesn't
Yeah.
it? They got some excess budget to throw around. Let's make a new prop.
Yeah, because we did see a lot more wormhole action, like, of the actual event horizon we got to see, because at the start I thought, oh, they're saving some money here because it was going through the ash cloud essentially on the Tollan planet, and you hear the gate, you sort of see the light brightness, whatever, and then they go over, and then they actually did come at the event horizon, but you didn't see the full effect, and I thought, this is how they save their money, but they really made up for it, I think, as the episode went on.
Do you know how else they made up for it? By hiring some really shit extras. So I'll show you guys a video, which again is pointless for an audio medium.
We can chuck it
But
up on Instagram.
as they're bringing through survivors from the Tollan planet, there's a Tollan guy on a stretcher, and O'Neill kind of just puts his helmet on his stomach, and the unconscious Tollan just grabs it and holds on to it so it doesn't fall off.
That's great.
So subtle
great.
as well. Holy shit! That's
Just so
excellent.
they don't have to it doesn't roll off and they've got to do another take.
Head to our Instagram page. We'll have that up where you can check that out. I don't think you're going to be able to miss it. Quietly. Wow, that's
That's funny.
Yeah, he's just trying to get more work. He's like, look what I can
That's
do
it.
on the side.
It's like, guys, I'm a team player, saving you film.
Now, as we already mentioned the Nox. Now, it's been a long time since I had seen this episode, so I didn't know that they were going to appear at the end. But they had the Nox music playing, I think, when Nareem and Carter first went up to the surface and were looking around.
Yeah.
And they had the Nox music playing because, like, we played that Nox music in our episode, and we were saying how much we loved it, and so it really stood out. And I thought, oh, that's interesting why they're playing that now. I mean, did you pick up on that straight away, Rhys, or did not until the end of the end of the show?
No, not until they started talking about what world they could go to, and he kept saying, "No, you're too primitive," and I'm like, "There's only one place they'd be able to go, that's not that primitive that we know about at the moment." So, but yeah, on the as you're talking about Nareem and Carter going up on the surface, like, how the did Hammond let that happen?
I thought the same thing.
I know.
Again, we spoke
I wrote
about
that
it when you
down
were here
too.
last week, Rhys. It's like we still haven't seen an episode where Teal'c's got to explore Earth. So as far as we know, he's still locked in the base, except for special circumstances when he can go to like Daniel's fake funeral. And
In which case he has to wear stupid hats.
yeah.
We'll let you out, but you have to wear this.
Whereas these aliens, still in their alien silver jumpsuits,
Yeah, fully. Also,
been on the planet for 5 minutes, suddenly allowed up top.
it made me wonder, those guards that are guarding the door, do they have clearance? Like, they would have seen this guy come out and be like, we didn't see him come in. Where did he come from? Do they know about the Stargate?
I think so. I think if you work on the facility,
Didn't they go out of a hatch?
But isn't it...
Wasn't there a hatch they came out of?
Yeah, it looked like some kind of side secret entrance.
But
or
wouldn't it
something
be like something that secret? It'd be like a need-to-know basis. If you're guarding a door, you don't need to know that there's a Stargate that travels to other planets.
Yeah, as far as
Yeah,
they
you're
know,
right.
probably
Yeah,
they're
that's
just doing
true.
R&D. You know,
Yeah.
it's like 3 or 4 levels down doing weapons research.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because isn't the official line that it's NORAD is there or something like that? It's like a telescope or satellite or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's like...
Yeah, okay.
Because we find out, I think, next season when we meet Carter's dad, as far as he knows, she's working on long-range stellar cartography or something like that, stellar research. So I always just assumed if you worked on the base, you were in on the secret because they'd only want the best of the best. But yeah, you make a good point. Maybe they've just got grunts fresh out of the academy just guarding the front door.
Not to argue against your point, but just argue against that, I guess, existing in the show. We've clearly seen they aren't the best of the best because on what, three occasions they've let people out of that building. And not only let them out, but have had no idea when they left or where they went or how many people they took with them. But yeah, no, it's a good question because that was one of the most alarming, I think, questions coming out of this episode was only a few weeks back we saw Hathor take over all the men in the base. I swear Hammond let her do less than what he let Nareem do after knowing him. Far less. He's like, yeah, you can go up to the surface with a smile on his face. I actually thought he was being mind controlled for a second. I'm like, he's too willing to go and let this alien who's working just underneath another bloke that's being an absolute dick to them so far. I go, yeah, you can go check out the service.
And it's like
he was playing matchmaker with him
Well, it's
and
like
Carter.
he's saying to Carter, can you just be Hathor for a minute? Go uncork the pheromones and just, try and get this guy on our side.
Go show him your pussy and get some answers.
Captain Carter, Mr. Nareem seems very interested in our planet. I thought maybe you'd like to escort him up to the surface to have a look.
Really?
I would be very pleased to have that opportunity.
As long as you give me your word, you'll stay with Captain Carter.
As long as he's got his word.
You have my word.
I don't know what that
Great.
is, but you have it.
Let's go.
Sure, you have my word. Whatever.
It's like Teal'c's like, oh, I'm actually going to, defy my gods and, causes civil uprising. But maybe Teal'c just hasn't given his word that he won't run away.
I love it how he's probably uses all his technology to go and destroy Washington. He's like, but he gave me his word.
You promised me you wouldn't do
He's on the
this.
red phone to the president. President, I don't know what else I could do. He gave me his word.
I tell you what, he played the president card in this because while we meet Omak, one of the great dicks of not so much an alien race, but certainly a foreign race on another planet. One of the great dicks in the American government and great dicks of Stargate altogether. Rhys, introducing
I got the
to
sense
you
of that, yes.
Maybourne, Colonel Maybourne.
Maybourne.
What a tosser, honestly. Like when he popped in, I'm like, that's right. He comes into the show this early, and what a dick he proves himself to be.
Yeah.
I loved it when Hammond just pulled rank on him.
Yeah, that was
He's like,
so good.
go to your room. No,
Yeah.
I'll stay here. No, go
And
to your
he-
room.
That wasn't
That's
a
an order.
request. That was an order,
And he-
Colonel.
And he looks down at his shoulder at his rank insignia,
Yeah.
Oh,
just to
really?
reinforce that I got stars on my shoulder, you don't, Colonel.
Yeah.
What would have made that
love
better is if Colonel O'Neill would have then come up and said, "Sir, I want to go do something." Yes, you do what you want, Colonel.
You pretty much run the rooster around here, Jack.
Jack, you let me know if you need me.
General, I want to. Yes, sir. You go for it.
And given how well, like, Maybourne, because obviously Maybourne does come back and he becomes one of those, the great people that we love to hate. I wonder if it was just a matter of the actor they had for the other Colonel that Jack didn't get along with from the first episode, Colonel Simmons or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I wonder if that actor was just unavailable. So they've recast and rewritten it for this new character, Maybourne.
Yeah.
And then this actor has just nailed it, and they've just gone, well,
He's
let's bring him,
so
let's
much
bring him
better.
back instead.
Yeah.
Because I do feel like
Such a prick. You want to punch him in the face every
Yeah.
time he's on screen.
the back and forward between him and Jack is also
Yeah.
really good as well. They've got a really good sort of rapport going.
Yeah, they do.
Was the NID that they stand for, like this
Yeah.
new organisation,
Which is
been established?
a fun little bit of trivia, because obviously the NID does become a much bigger player in later seasons. I think it stands for like the National Intelligence Division or something like that. But in one of the audio commentaries, one of the directors, Peter DeLuise, says apparently early on they were going to be the NRD, which actually standed for not a real department. That was just what they made up. And they went, no, because we can't actually give it an in-world name if it's NRD.
Yeah.
We'll call it NID.
Oh, that's funny.
What about at the start how Buddy O'Neill asked Carter, "How long have we got?" She's like, "I don't know, sir. I'm not a volcanologist."
Yeah, what would I
Like,
know?
what the hell? Why
Actually-
would she know?
Well, she's a sciencey girl.
You know how we gave it to her a couple of weeks ago about like where they've just inserted Carter ADR, like they've just to give her a line.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they've done it in this episode too, in the opening. Have a listen to this.
Whoa. None of this was going on when we sent the probe through.
Whoa.
It's like the first ever line of the episode,
Yeah.
and it's just clear. And then it goes in the rest of the audio, and it's like clearly different audio quality. So she's
Yeah.
just done it in an ADR session some other time. And
Yeah.
Well, they've honestly pulled her
Whoa.
through and not even told her what scene it was a part of. Not
Yeah,
even
no.
what episode. It was like they're filming 3 episodes in front or something. Like,
Yeah.
Just come in and read this. Like, it
Yeah,
stinks
for
of that, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
Whoa.
you could put that at the start of anytime they walk through the gate. You could just play that audio.
No, it's not unbelievable enough. Do it again. How about whoa?
Perfect. Yes.
There was a little bit of sort of convenient alien convergence of things. Towards the end, as Nareem decides he's got to leave, he says to her, "We have a custom."
I don't know what to say.
We have a custom. That expresses more than words.
That's really graphic, isn't it? That sound.
Oh, yeah.
We have a custom too.
And then, to ruin the moment,
Whoops.
I did like it. Because he sort of swans in and sort of almost fell back. Whoops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now, I just want to play a little game here. Say, for example, I don't know, the 4 of us were writing this episode. What potentially, like, what are the odds that they actually have the same custom? What happened if he just, like, licked her earlobe
Yeah.
and that was their custom? Or, like, he
Well,
stuck...
they are originally human, are they?
Yeah. And I guess taken from a time when humans were probably doing that to, show affection or something,
Yeah.
whether it be between a mother and a child or,
Yeah.
Essentially,
It's been thousands of years. How come... It could just be they want to stick their thumb in her belly button, and that's how they
What,
show
so
affection on that planet.
Egyptians didn't kiss each other?
Well, Nareem's not Egyptian.
Yeah, but he would have.
Look, I'm just trying a bit of fun here, guys. You're poking holes in it. Fine, move on.
No, but that
That's why
actually
we're
would be
here.
funny, especially with that music, because that piece that we just played there, I'm like...
he licked her
I-
earlobe.
Yeah, I sometimes forget how much music plays in this show. Like, when you're watching
a
it,
lot.
there's so much more to obviously take in,
Yeah.
but when you're just listening to it,
It's
there's
hard to
so
do.
much
I
theme
only
underneath.
ever-
ever,
for.
I only ever realised when I started cutting sound bites was
Yeah.
like how much sort of music there is in the background that you've got to try and cut around. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really hard.
So, Rhys, do you understand now why we were so into the Nox when they first arrived, given how they had just like that badass entrance at the end.
Yeah, I just love that there's a more powerful race than the Goa'uld. And I'm just like, yes, this is going to be sweet. Like, surely... What interested me is that whether the Tollan and the Nox have the same technology or they're just sort of... You know what I mean? Like, if they go to the Nox and say, hey, yeah, check out this technology that we've got, and then create better technology throughout the understandings of each other. So
Yeah,
that's
well,
what I'm
I
excited.
loved the dichotomy of the two races in terms as they were very similar technologically. If you think about it, the Nolan can phase through objects. The Nox
Tollan.
can become... Sorry, what did I say?
Nolan, you've been watching Chris Nolan movies.
Oh, trust me, I haven't. So the Tollan can phase through objects, whereas the Nox can make objects disappear. And from what we understand at the end of this episode, not just like cloak them, but actually make them completely disappear because the guys holding their guns actually can't even hold them anymore.
Yeah.
I think they kind of retcon that for me.
Yeah, I thought that too.
There's no reason why they shouldn't be able to have their guns. Or do they just make them...
Well, no, we're just assuming that it was just a cloak.
Yeah.
You know, in the Nox episode, and also we see that cool thing where Laia can just activate the Stargate by doing the YMCA dance.
Yeah, that was sweet. That was
Like,
really, really cool.
That was so
awesome.
boss.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like they could have picked a better alien race that they've previously visited to fill in the time before they made contact with the Nox, because even though it was only a few weeks ago that we watched it,
They did.
the people of the light that
Yeah.
I kind of feel like they didn't really think that they were all that great when they went and visited them for their particular episode. So why they're
Yeah,
sitting
but
there in their
they-
infinite wisdom go, these people that think we're primitive, we're going to go and put them with these guys who it's like setting up a blind date that you know is not going to work. You know?
Yeah.
Oh no, I think they're definitely they made the mistake of thinking that the Tollan would want to live in the land of light, given that how primitive they are. But I think looking back, SG-1 doesn't really have any other off-world allies that they could contact. If you think about it, they needed the Tollan to contact the Nox. It's probably really the only people they're on speaking terms with.
Yeah.
They could have gone to, I forget the name of the planet, where Thor's people live, and Thor's hammer. That's the only other
Yeah, it's not bad.
one that I would have thought, if you know how to
They
contact
didn't
someone.
seem to be a thriving race, though. Like, they talked about how the women were in charge of the town while the men went a Viking, which is now...
Yeah, I don't mean
looking
those
for
people, but
work.
I mean in terms of trying to get to see Thor or whatever.
Yeah,
Like
but
a
I suppose at
conduit.
that stage, they don't even know whether Thor's still alive, though, because you kind of
No,
only
but
have
that's
Thor
the best technology they've come across that they don't understand and they couldn't get.
Yeah, it's not a bad thought.
Definitely not the blokes with the bulls in their lounge room.
I just really like sort of the darkness and the light of the Nox and the Tollan in that they have such similar technology, and the Nox are all about generosity and care and share. Well, not so much sharing, but you know they're willing to sort of put themselves out to help other people. Whereas the Tollan are just dicks, and
Yeah,
they hoard their technology and they hide it because of what happened to them.
Yeah.
I just find that's a really cool balancing act between those
I
two
do love
species.
Nareem's story about how they found aliens in the same solar system as them. It's like us.
Yeah.
I dug that concept of someone being on Mars or something.
The nearest planet in our solar system was called Sarita. When we began to explore space, we learned she was inhabited.
Did you make contact?
Yes. When we thought they were sufficiently advanced. They were on a level very similar to yours.
So what happened?
We offered them a device to produce unlimited productive energy. And they used it to make war.
How bad was it?
In one rotation of our planet, they had destroyed theirs.
One day?
The destruction shifted our planet's orbit 0.3 decana. Enough to begin a chain of events that made our world unstable.
So that would explain why he's so afraid to give a society like ours any of your technology.
I find that, I mean, I know that you think they're dicks for not sharing the technology, but I find that quite admirable to make sure that you're giving your such advanced technology to people that are worthy.
Yeah, but
for it.
I feel like
It's like going to
the Nox-
Afghanistan and giving them AK-47s. You're not really helping them out.
And then,
Yeah, but the
Yeah.
Nox are the same. They're saying, you know, we're not going to give you the technology that we have in it for a race so young, and kind of once you are older and you've learned, then perhaps we can be friends. Whereas the Tollan, well, it's not so much the
More
Tollan, like
Omark,
Nareem's fine, but mainly Omark, who is their leader.
Yeah,
It's just
Nareem should be the voice, to the people.
He should be their
the face of the
ambassador.
organisation.
Yeah, Omark
The
is just
PR
an
guy.
arrogant dick to everybody.
He's just the boss's dad. I mean, the boss is his dad.
But yeah, it was nice to see, I guess, that underlying story of the show, which, Earth wanting, technology and stuff. And it's not just about us and our sort of, I guess, involvement with the team and their exploration and things. It's about them being backed by a government that wants them to go and find better technologies to create better weapons. So to see the NID and to see Maybourne come in and remind us of that he says, finally the SGC is actually, pulling its weight and, earning all of this money and its funding. And I'm thinking, dude, like, they can't choose what they find. They go and see that a planet is habitable and it's able to be, walked through and explored. They go there and they find out that there's diseases there, or that there is people wanting to kill them, or that, again, there's a planet that's about to be destroyed, in volcanic ash and, and explode or implode or whatever. Like, they can't pick and choose what they find out there.
I think it's more
pot
like
luck.
Thinking about from his perspective, they don't give a shit. They want them to go in, find weapons, and come back. But I think it's just the time they're taking going in, trying to find medicine and trying to help people and trying to do all this. They're just like, you're taking too long. We're giving you all this money. We just want weapons. Go. Doesn't matter if there's no weapons there. Come back. Go to a new planet.
And you see almost
do 5 missions a day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and there was a moment where they very much could have done that right at the start of the episode. They get out there, Carter does her really bad ADR and says, "Oh, this wasn't happening," and O'Neill's like, "All right, fire it back up. Let's go, Daniel." And then he looks over and they see people underneath the ash, and Daniel's like, "There's people here. We got to help them." And I'm like, "Well, you don't have to. This place looks like it's being destroyed. Everyone you find in the immediate sort of search is already dead.
Loot their bodies and get out of there.
Get the hell out of there. They could have made that decision to go back and go, hey, sorry, sorry, General, didn't really work out, but hey, look, we're already prepped, ready to go.
Yeah.
Send us on another mission. Let's go. Send the melt back out there somewhere else. So, yeah, you're right. Like, while we pay out Hammond a lot, and I know, Matty, you said it took you a couple of seasons to really warm to Hammond. I guess it shows what kind of bloke he really is when he could very much be running the place like your Maybournes, like anyone else in the government. Rather than doing what he does, where O'Neill and Daniel come back, make a very humanitarian case about why they should be helping people, or why they shouldn't kill people over there, or why they shouldn't steal their technology. And Hammond actually thinks about it with reason. He's a good bloke and goes, yeah, okay, let them keep what they've got, or we should help those people, or let, like the other week, let Teal'c maybe rot in jail when Jack really wanted to go back there and shoot the place up.
Yeah,
so,
or letting Teal'c go back to, look after his son.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's why it took me a few seasons to get on board the Hammond train, because, like, it took a while to get characters like Maybourne and, like, Senator Kinsey, who we meet at the end of the season. Characters like that kind of are, butting heads with Hammond, and Hammond instead of, at the moment, Hammond's the man. Like, Jack is the one sticking his thumb to the man and going, well, we do whatever we want. Yeah. But over time, then Hammond actually gets to become one of the team, and he's with them, defying the man, who is, other government departments and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, I love the aspect where they're learning from people like the Nox, where they're like, shit, we don't have to be evil and fight and be the aggressors in order to progress. I think that's what I love about it, is that it's showing the vast difference between what humans are on Earth and what they could be.
Yeah.
And I think the SG-1 team and Hammond and versus the rest of the government is what shows us that.
Because the majority, 99% of any type of alien invasion or even alien contact film that we watch, film and TV, you're looking at, and I'm sure you've probably got many examples to the contrary, Matty, with Star Trek, but most of them, especially the mainstream stuff that we go out and watch, is we're us versus aliens that seem to be unified. Their whole planet. It's not like you're fighting a group of aliens from a certain country on their planet or anything. And while we did pay out the likes of Independence Day Resurgence, get into movies reviews this year, because the film was horrible, but at least it showed at the end of the first film, it was all these different countries coming together, because they said, we're humanity, we need to come together to fight these guys. And they shared information, shared how to beat the threat. The second movie, as awful as it was, set 20 years later, there's no war going on. There's no conflicts on Earth. We're all working together. There's like disagreements about how to approach a certain situation, but no one's in great conflict. There's no, Middle East war going on. There's nothing happening in Eastern Europe or anything. Everything is unified against a unified threat as well, and a common enemy. So you're right. Like that's what I love about sci-fi so much you're the forefront of that, Matty, with Star Trek, is it shows what humanity can be if we just lose all this prejudice and all this other shit aside. And that's what makes me angry when people just sort of diss it as being stupid, laser fights and all this sort of shit.
Yeah,
and aliens
that's what I love about Stargate so much, is that it's like Stargate is almost the precursor to Star Trek. In Star Trek, all the main characters are already, the Nox, where they're these, enlightened people willing to share and help out and all that sort of stuff. And they have all the advanced technology to back it up. Stargate is like the precursor to that, in that it's modern day Earth. We've got the modern technology we have now, making contact with all these advanced species who could theoretically just wipe us from the planet, like in Independence Day and things like that. But it's more about SG-1 learning, and it's that great sci-fi trope of applying fantastical ideas into a modern day setting to make our everyday problems seem pretty worthless, like just everyday problems.
I wanted to talk about, we touched on it earlier, but we wanted to talk about Erwin Schrödinger's hypothesis regarding his cat, a hypothetical
Theorem?
Experiment that that he performed or thought of in 1935. Do we have any audio from that bit?
1935, Erwin Schrödinger, in an attempt to explain the Copenhagen interpretation of quantum physics, he proposed an experiment with a box with a sealed vial of poison.
I'm like, geez, I'll just pause that for a second. I'm like, I don't remember the guy saying so much like Sheldon. Interesting.
I'm like, that sounds like...
Yeah, we just thought you'd enjoy that.
Oh, no, I love
We
it.
know how much you love it.
Oh, no, I'm happy to listen. I've actually really engaged in that before I realised what was going on. So I'm like,
It's like immediately went to stop it too.
no, not at all.
Not on my show.
Just the look of confusion on Mitch's face.
Yeah.
No, because I'm like, wow, I thought I was paying attention to this episode when I'm watching. Clearly I wasn't. Because I'm like, that doesn't sound like Nareem. That doesn't sound like Daniel. It's more like Daniel than Nareem, if I'm to be honest, while I'm going through the thought process. Hang on a second. Well, am I finishing this off? Because it sounded like he was onto something good.
Well, it's... the reason we got the audio is it's funny that in The Big Bang Theory, they do talk about Schrodinger's cat, theory. And now it's on T-shirts, and it's like everybody knows about Schrodinger's cat because
Can
of,
I actually
because
play
of
the
the
rest
Big
of that
Bang?
then? Because he already sounds like he's going to explain it in greater detail than what Carter did to Nareem.
Totally.
Because she explained that to him, and he's like, oh, that sounds awful. And I'm like, I don't understand what the hell she just said.
Yeah.
All I heard was like essentially animal cruelty, but I didn't really understand what he was trying to get out of it. So
Well, maybe you should watch The Big Bang Theory, Mitch.
no, I got other stuff to do.
Start it again. Because I wasn't listening to it.
Stuff to do.
I was looking at you.
Too busy listening to my dickhead face.
In 1935, Erwin Schrödinger, in an attempt to explain the Copenhagen interpretation of quantum physics, he proposed an experiment where a cat is placed in a box with a sealed vial of poison that will break open at a random time. Now, since no one knows when or if the poison has been released, until the box is opened, the cat can be thought of as both alive and dead.
Where's Carter's laugh track?
Yeah.
Why is that funny?
I'm sorry, I don't get the point.
Well, of course you don't get it. I haven't made it yet. You have to be psychic to get it, and there's no such thing as psychic.
Sheldon, what's the point?
Just like Schrodinger's cat, your potential relationship with Leonard right now can be thought of as both good and bad. It is only by opening the box that you'll find out which it is.
Full disclosure.
Is he a member of the Nox? So wise.
Hiding in plain sight.
Full disclosure, the original idea that I had was, and like we talked before with the music in the background, if there wasn't so much music in the background of Carter's, I was going to insert the laugh track, but it just didn't work. But we do have the actual audio of Carter explaining it.
I never thought I'd see a living animal.
His name's Schrödinger.
Now just imagine she's showing him
It's kind of a joke, really. His name, that is. Schrodinger's cat.
Oh.
Right. Well, see, there was
that's
an
right,
Earth
he's from another
physicist
planet.
by the name of Erwin Schrödinger. He had this theoretical experiment. Put a cat in a box add a can of poison gas activated by the decay of a radioactive atom, and close the box.
Sounds like a cruel man.
Oh, no. It was just a theory. He never really did it. But he said that if he did do it, at any one instant, the cat would be both dead and alive at the same time.
Equilibrium physics. An atom state is indeterminate until measured by an outside observer.
We call it quantum physics. You know the theory?
Yeah, I've studied it. And among other misconceptions of elementary science.
Misconception? You telling me that you guys have licked quantum physics?
That word again.
Even though I still don't, I guess I don't.
You're not a physicist.
Yeah,
Mitch.
I'm not a
You're
physicist,
really
right? So of
into-
course I don't fully understand it, but I do actually understand it more based on the Sheldon Cooper explanation of it than what she just did. Because having heard his first, then before I listened to hers, I'm like, oh, she's left some stuff out that was crucial, and she tried to make it, I guess, sound smarter than what Sheldon did by saying, oh, because of the decay of a dying atom or something. Like he just said, it'll go off at an undisclosed time.
It's
That's
like
all
the,
you need to know.
The adage of if a tree is to fall in a forest and no one heard it, did it actually make any sound?
Yeah.
Same kind of deal.
Yeah,
That's what I
it's
got
like,
out of it.
did something happen if
No one
there was
saw it.
nothing there to measure it? If there was no way to record and measure it?
Like when I killed my neighbour, no one saw it, so nothing
Didn't
happened.
happen.
So, I thought you were going to say when you killed your neighbour's cat.
But there was a couple of instances in this episode where I think humanity and our guys were trying to sound a little bit smarter, like that. Like she didn't need to necessarily say everything she just said, but she did. And then even Hammond, when they gave them their weapons back or their devices, and he goes, "Oh, you know," and Olmark sort of went on to describe what they weren't, and Hammond said, no, we that's the conclusion we come to
Yeah,
as well.
totally. We're telling you that.
Yep, did all of that, all the study. Yep.
It's like Carter.
It's like little kids saying, I knew you were going to do that. Well, no, you didn't.
but in that scene, it's like Carter's really, really smart and really, really dumb at the same time.
Yeah.
Like she overuses terminologies to explain it, but then forgets that Nareem's from another planet and he's not going to get the Schrodinger cat joke.
Yeah.
Which is the actual punchline. It's the whole genesis of a
There's
joke.
a lot of intelligent people that are like that, though, just socially retarded.
Yeah.
Like Sheldon
Like
Cooper.
Sheldon, yeah. All right. It's that time again. We got the sting. We're going to make one.
I haven't been here for a while. It's time to find out if Rhys has been paying attention. Yeah. Break it down.
I've before we start, I do have a quick question for Rhys that's not part of the quiz. Just an info. This is just to get you going and just
It's a practice.
just warm up. It's a practice round.
Excellent, yes.
There is no wrong answer to this question, but do you think potentially the Tollan could be one of the 4 great races spoken about in the Torment of Tantalus?
Well, I didn't think about it till now.
I may be giving you hints. I may be using misdirection to,
Yeah. No, but that makes sense. Yeah, if I was going to say smartest, but most knowledgeable. The Nox, it would make sense.
Because I think we've been told in the episode that the Asgard are one of them, Thor's race.
Yeah.
But that's all we kind of know. We don't know about the other 3.
All right, so time will start at the conclusion of the first question. These are all gimmies, mate. You'll be All right. What is the name of Nareem's cat?
Schrodinger.
What is the element the Stargate is made from?
Oh, you asked me that before. I don't know. Pass.
In Singularity, what Goa'uld's mothership was in orbit?
Oh, pass.
In Singularity, what is the name of the little girl?
Pass.
Do you wish she died at the end?
Yes.
Correct.
Cassandra. Are you going back to him or what? And
No, I didn't say that.
Naquota?
Oh,
I'll give
Mitch
it.
is giving him that.
For someone,
pronouncing notes that you've read?
for someone that doesn't remember names, you got very close.
I've got my notes here from the previous
I was
episode.
just going to say, you've got it written down, but you're just trying to figure out the
I'm flipping
pronunciation of
through.
it.
I'm trying to listen to the question and read through my notes at the same time.
All right, so you got... we didn't do this a couple of weeks ago. I didn't go through the answers. Nareem's cat was Schrodinger. You got that. The element the Stargate is made from, you almost got that.
I got it. I heard the ding.
Yeah, but you didn't say the word right. But anyway, it's Naquadria.
Naquada.
Yeah, I was trying to throw him off. With that,
I've already answered it. Why are you trying to throw me off what?
In Singularity, the Goa'uld was... What's her name? Ner-
You don't even have the answers in front of you.
I was just reading Nareem, Neati.
Yep.
And do you wish she died at the end? You answered correctly, and yes. Blow the cobwebs out.
Best
boys.
quiz
That
ever,
was
guys. Best quiz
horrible.
ever.
So
What'd I
what
get?
did you get? 4. So you didn't get them all right. You're still a loser. You haven't got 5 out of 5.
We know this.
But
know
Daniel
this.
Jackson also has something to say.
Rhys, your father made you wrong.
That is amazing. Where did you get that from? Wow.
Daniel, Michael Shaggers is in town, promoting his new movie. We just got him in.
shit.
And we thought rather than actually get him in for an interview, we thought we'll just grab that little bit of audio from him and we'll
That's
just have
great.
that. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
And you put the backing track to it as well. I appreciate that.
You stupid son of a bitch.
It would have been better the other week when I got 1 out of 5.
Yeah, for sure.
I know, well, I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
I'll put them up on my board
I've
so I can
got
play
one ready
whenever
for
I
you to
want.
get when you get 5 out of 5, but it just hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, it won't happen.
All right, that is Stargate SG-1's Season 1, Episode 17, Enigma, Get Into Gate. My name is Mitch_Lewis on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow him, Matty Gibson.
High pitch Matty.
Rhys.
I'm at the Flying Gibson.
Brendan.
At the Brendan Gibson.
And you can find Get Into Gate on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Drop us a line, getintogate@gmail.com. All of our podcasts on Soundcloud and iTunes. And we are part of the much bigger world that is Get Into Geek. The biggest movie out at the moment. It's obviously been out for a little over a week. Star Wars Rogue One. We're all here to review it, so you can check that out on the Get Into Geek podcast and everything that Get Into Geek and Get Into Gate do at getintogeek.com. Boys, see you next year in the new year for more Stargate SG-1 Get Into Gate chats. It's all happening.
GetIntoGeek.com.